is sometimes when you work with a group and you create within a short span of time enough trust that they can trust you, that they believe that you will be confidential and professional about the information they share with you, how to change something in their departments. I often found them, they just go for it. And when they've released the tension of all that built up emotion, they become clear again. You haven't changed anything yet. You haven't made any decision about how we're going to change this department of yours. But just that pent up emotion that has been released, that ventilation of the emotion. Because you must remember, what drowns the cognition, what drowns the rationality of man is emotion. And if emotion builds up, don't get an outlet, is not released from time to time, that emotion will start to drown your rational, clear, cognitive thinking. So by creating an environment where someone, as Rudolf mentions it, where his overboiling kettle just spills into his own cup and eventually your cup, it's like there's more space for the overboiling kettle to spill over. And eventually it stops boiling. Or it stops boiling over because it has now been released. And when that happened, that in itself is a very strong therapeutic intervention. Although that wasn't the intention, you didn't go there to just release emotion, you want to solve the problem. But that is such a fundamental initial part. So we often just create space, create space. The idea of creating space is a very good idea to work with. Create space for someone to be, create space for someone to mention, create space for someone just to express, create space for someone to cry, create space for someone to be angry. The underlying thing remains to bracket your judgments, because you can't really create space when you judge someone for their reaction or their thinking. That's maybe what makes the unconditional positive regard a significant element of creating space. Meet the client where the client is at.
It's very liberating thought, that teacup.
Yes, so it's beautiful paradigm.
What I just picked up from that is, I do think that as a coach, one can be aware of, I think I should be aware of that, I can empty my cup without the fear of losing my taste, my tea, my kettle.
Could we understand that the kettle is not you, but God Himself? Your source. What is your source? Is it you? You're not going to get far with that, if you were to ask me. If it's God, it's unending, limitless, never bottom, never top. And sometimes you'll drink a bitter cup. I want to say, if you don't want to do that, don't coach. Because what are you going to work with? Humans. They're broken. They've got assumptions. They've got ways of viewing the world. They've been through things. Remember, if your source, let's work with this little metaphor. If your source is God, and He can fill you again, and there will come times in your coaching relationship with all of your clients that they drink from your cup today. They will taste something. Say, boy, but that's nice. That's refreshing. That's different. Can I have more? Yes. We can exchange kettles eventually. By His grace, He will give you Himself as your kettle now. And then He can start slowly but surely drink from that kettle. I even want to add to your question saying, finding that identity in your source. Because that's where the identity originally came from. Man is not designed by man. Man was not created by man. Nice to realize that one doesn't need an audible voice to have a voice. Presence might even be a louder voice to have than spoken words. There's something that you carry within yourself, I would guess, a deep understanding of how significant insignificance is. How significant it is to be insignificant. This is how I've made up my mind. The time that I got to know you is that in quietness there's strength, in presence there's strength. in being so-called insignificance. There's a lot of significance. There is a thing, and I've struggled with it in my own life, getting over myself, because what needs to happen for you is for you now. So get over yourself, Nico. You want now recognition, and therefore this guy doesn't give you recognition, and therefore you don't want to give him what he needs. Get over yourself. He needs it, just give it to him. So there's something like what you talk about, Whitey, suddenly you start to speak because it's not driven from you. It's not driven because you've got a need or you think you're great or whatever. It's merely driven because that is what you see the situation might need. It's extending yourself beyond yourself so that you can be who you are. Instead of, I must be this, or I must be that, or I must do this, or I must do it in this way. That kind of pressure, when it leaves us because we come into our own, releases us now to be over ourselves and say, this is me. Do you pluck of the fruit and you enjoy the fruit? I'm happy for you. But you enjoying the fruit of my life doesn't make me. Neither, on the other hand, when you do scold me, scorn me, criticize me, it's not going to make me something which I'm not. I am. That sense of I am becomes very powerful in a context like you've described it now. I think that the getting a revelation is what many psychologists would refer to as the aha experience. And when you get the aha experience, that is the most profound or the deepest level of change possible on that specific thing. And I don't think for 1 minute I sit there and I think you can be who you are right now to stay who you are. I don't sit there and think, oh, you're fine. Whatever your issue is, keep at it, man. It's your thing. Maybe you like it and love it and that's what you should be. I'm sitting there and thinking, I'm in it for change. I'm in it for helping you to journey forward. I'm in it for healing. I'm in it for wholeness. I'm in it to see growth. So in any point in time, if you do experience that unconditional positive regard, don't be fooled to think, I think this is okay. The unconditional positive regard is my understanding of how I can move you forward quicker, how I can help you to become who you are. It's not less authentic because I'm okay with you where you are. But I'm primarily okay with you where you are because I have got no other idea how you're going to move forward if I can't meet you even where you are. Therefore, maybe drawing that distinction for yourself, unconditional positive regard is not unconditional positive agreement. It's two things. And we all can have this grace to balance the two and say, I accept you, embrace you as a person, just who you are. Agree with you all the time, 100%? No, I can't. I'm too muddled up with my own experiences, my own history, my own hurts, my own issues. I can't just take you and agree with everything that you are. But it doesn't detract 1 ounce from the grace that I receive to embrace your person.